Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel, and it's episode 3 of our Cheltenham Ante-post series. Thank you very much to Tanya for last week, Johnny Deneen the week before, and like Johnny Deneen, we've got his co-star in Upping The Ante and David Jennings on for episode 3. DJ, how are you? It's rolling onto the DRF and we're getting ever so close to Cheltenham now.
Yeah, it's getting serious now, Ash. I always think once Christmas comes along, the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks to just rattle along because it's getting ever closer. And yeah, great weekend this weekend. Small fields, sure prices, but cracking action at the Dublin Racing Festival.
It's cracking action, and look, we had Johnny Deneen on in week 1. We've had him on for a couple of other things on our YouTube channel, and you get to work with him week in, week out on the run up to Cheltenham. Just, I know it's probably been asked many a time, but even this year, sort of second year of Johnny Deneen, what's it like working alongside him, sort of up in the ante wise?
It's unbelievable, honestly. Like Johnny, I had never met Johnny before he started the show. He kind of has a big reputation in Irish racing, but I had never met him. And when Gavin Lynch, who previously did the show, decided to go out on his own, we were kind of sussing out who might potentially take over to keep up in the ante going, because it had kind of established itself quite well at that stage. And the name Johnny Deneen popped up, and it was actually the initial Up in the Ante, which is probably maybe 8 or 9 years ago, was the brainchild of Paul Byrne, actually. Paul Byrne of Corbett's Cross and the Shunter fame. It was his idea, the show in the first place. So he was kind of one of the ones that mentioned Johnny Deneen. And Johnny came up for a trial, actually, in Dublin. We did a kind of an audition during the summer. And he was such a lovely guy. But when we did the audition, he couldn't stop coughing. He had a real kind of, I think he had a cold or he had a flu or something on him. And he said, he even warned me before he went on. He said, I have a bit of a cough. But every time he'd say a sentence, he'd cough. So I went back to my editor, Richard Forrestal. I went back and he said, how'd you get on with Johnny? And I said, yeah, he was really good. I said, but he couldn't stop coughing. So at that stage, I was like, God, I don't know if this is going to work or not. And then it got to November and we started our first show. And I'm not joking you, it was just golden from the start. And he's one of these guys. There's very few people like this in life. He's probably the only person I know who's like this. I could ring Johnny, and you probably know this because you've had him on the show. I could ring Johnny on just say we fill him up in the ante at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I could ring Johnny on Monday night at 1 o'clock in the middle of the night. Like I said, Johnny, look, change of plan, Johnny. Up in the ante is not in Dublin at 10 o'clock as usual. It's in Timbuktu at 12 o'clock on Wednesday night. And he'd go, yeah, no problem, see you there. And he'd just turn up. Like, he's just the most flexible, nice, normal fella you could ever meet. Like, you'd never think like that he's such a successful punter. And I'm not joking you, lads, the show, like, it's obviously part of my job, but it's not a job at all. Like, you're going in there and Johnny just like, and you never know what he's going to come out with. And like, he will say something, and honest to God, you want to see the outtakes in that show. I think maybe before Cheltenham, they might do an outtakes of the show, and some of the stuff he comes out with, like, I'm literally on the ground laughing. He's just a pleasure to deal with and absolutely hilarious. Like,
what about the chase? Is he going to go on the chase or not?
That is the plan. We're starting a petition to get him on the chase. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, even today, he was on about, I don't know if you watched today's show, but like, he was on about something come up about the gym, and he goes, I've never stepped foot in a gym in my life, and I never will. But I've actually got a gym at the back of my house, but I've never been in it. Like, he just, you couldn't write the stuff he comes up. And then, like, he has all these sayings and phrases, and yeah, no, look, to be honest, we're very lucky at the Racing Post have got Johnny, because he's just a dream find. I suppose he's our Mo Salah.
Do you think, DJ, do you think it's helped Up in the Ante as a show having Johnny as that figure with you? Because the two of you are like, and I put it on Twitter, like, people love the Ante and Dex, but for us racing fans, we have you and Johnny, and it just seems that we can rely on a Tuesday evening to have a laugh. Does it kind of add to the show, do you think, having
well,
Johnny?
The first thing I'd say is, genuinely, and I mean this, Like, nobody is watching the show for me, let me tell you. Absolutely nobody. My tipping was poor last year. Wasn't great the year before. And like put it this way. Imagine if you were told, right, on a Tuesday, if we put out a tweet and we said, bit of a changed up in the ante this week. Johnny can't do it, but David is going to do it on his own, okay? Imagine how many views you'd get if that happened, as opposed to the opposite. So just say on a Tuesday, you'd say, oh, David is sick this week, so Johnny is doing the show on his own. I would say there would be no difference whatsoever. He is, honestly, he makes the show. It's like playing with a good footballer. Like, you just give them the ball, they dribble with it, and he's brilliant.
You'll be have to. If it would be an episode with just you, you'll have to get the bad jumpers out and the ones with the old the universes on, just in Johnny's honor if he wasn't on. Brilliant stories, and we're really grateful for you coming on, DJ. Quick check in, Lee and Harry, episode 3. Looking forward to Cheltenham and kicking on with things, Lee.
Yeah, look, I can't wait for the weekend. We're given a treat by Trails Day, and we've got the Dublin Racing Festival. There's plenty of English going across. I think they're on about 28% of English going across for it. It's going to be a great weekend, and then we can kick on to the festival as well. Look, racing fans are spoilt, I would have said, in the next so many weeks.
Brilliant stuff, Harry. Trials Day just gone. Cheltenham is 6 weeks old. It's getting close now, isn't it?
No, it's scarily close now, Ash. It's I remember when people are still putting out saying they can't wait for the flat season. Well, watch Trials Day and then come back to me and say you want the flat to come back. It's an absolute load of I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to get Ash to bleep it out in the edit. But people say that Cheltenham's not the be all and end all. Well, look, after the DRF, now tell me after the Cheltenham's not be all and end all. Everyone will be looking towards those 4 days in March, and I can't wait for it. So yeah, let's get cracking.
Road to the Lincoln, am I right, guys? No.
No, shut up. No.
I'll see myself out. I'll see me and my Tony Carraways out. We'll kick on from where we left off. We finished with the bar in Bingham last week, and we're kicking on to the next grade one of the Cheltenham Festival, which is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. At least this one hasn't changed sponsorship, so we know what this race is called. And unless you join Ian, of course, and he does get it wrong on multiple occasions. But Rongeclair West is topping the market 9-2. Factor File 5-1. Stay Away Faye after his dip into open company 6-1. Grey Dawning, impressive winner at Warwick when we last saw him 7-1. Embassy Gardens 12, so could have the National Hunt Chase option, and bigger about the rest. DJ, I'll come over to you first of all. How does the Brown Advisory picture way up in your head? Obviously, we've got horses who could drop into this race, could go up to the National Hunt Chase if they're qualified. Is there any one horse in here that's really standing out to you?
Not particularly. I think we will learn a lot, not particularly about this race, but about other races this weekend, because I spoke to Willie Mullins today. Gaelic Warrior is running against Marine Nationale in the Irish Arkle on Saturday. So should he win that or certainly run well in that, you'd imagine they're thinking about going in the Arkle route with Gaelic Warrior, which is a complete change of plan considering he's as short as I think 8-11 for the turners. So if he does go to the Arkle, that would mean Willie might be thinking of Facta File for the turners, Grangeclair West for this race, and then Embassy Gardens and maybe Nick Roquette for the National Hunt Chase. That's from today with the Gaelic Warrior news. That might be the way he's thinking, and I think the race kind of in a little bit centres around Facta File, in that he's the one horse we don't really know anything about. And anything we do know is pretty good. Like, it's very, very rare for Willie to go straight over fences with a horse from bumpers. He did it with Florida Pearl. But with Facta File, there's that little bit of, unknown and could be a potential superstar about him. I loved his win in the Beginner's Chase. I know it was only a 5-runner field, but there were still decent horses he was running against. Anna here was placed in a few champion hurdles. I think he's a real safe, assured and accomplished jumper. I don't think he's spectacular. I would much prefer him to Grangeclair West personally if they both showed up in this race. Look, Johnny is completely against Stay Away Faye. We spoke about him in today's show. I wouldn't be. I think he's really solid, Stay Away Faye. I think Turner for home, he's going to be bang there, and I think whatever beats Stay Away Faye will win. Grey Dawning has a massive chance as well, but with Grey Dawning, you just kind of, like the Ginny's Destiny form is probably a little bit stronger even than the Warwick form, for all that he was exceptional at Warwick. Like the Ginny's Destiny, he would have beaten Ginny's Destiny fair and square only for that mistake at the second last. So look, he has to enter calculations. And on Up in the Ante, I tipped, my very first tip was Corbett's Cross for this race. Looks like he might run the Scilly Isles at Sandown on Saturday, but is JP's only entry in the National Hunt Chase is Corbett's Cross. So there's an awful lot of question marks about the top 5 and 6 at the top of the market. Monty Star, is probably the one who, he's definitely going to run here. He's a brilliant jumper. He probably has more to offer over fences, given that where he comes from, Henry de Bromhead. I spoke to Henry for the price-wise Ante-post section in the Racing Post. I think it was last week price-wise covered that he tipped Grey Dawning, Tom Siegel did. But I was surprised at how positive Henry de Bromhead was about Monty Star. And he did beat a three-car Bragg quite impressively at Punchestown in on New Year's Eve. Look, I've spoken about the top 7 in the market there. If all those 7 ran, I would be with Fact to File. I think he's the one who just might be he's the one who could be our Gold Cup winner next season, or certainly a Gold Cup contender. But it just is in the back of my mind that if Gaelic Warrior were to win on Saturday and Fact to File were to win on Sunday in the Labrooks Novice Chase, that maybe Gaelic Warrior will go 2 mile in the Arkle and Fact to File will go 2.5 miles in the Brown Advisory. That's where I'm at. It's just very tricky to dissect them all. I'm hoping you'll have a stronger opinion.
Hopefully, anyway. Well, at least one of these lads next to us will have an opinion on it. Bit of a murky picture, but Lee, Brown Advisory, what do you make of it? What's top of your list currently?
Top of my list currently is Monty Star. I just think kind of in that mould for Henry, Monolly and Manila Indoor, same colours. I thought won really well the last day against 3-card Bragg. I managed to get on a good price. I know you and Steve Rader, who was on our Sunday show a while back, both put this horse up at 50-1. I managed to get a bit more on the exchanges. I'm not going to blow me trumpet, but
do blow away. What price did you get?
I think it was 68 or something around there, or 65s. Not too much bigger, but I did have a little bit on then, and I think it's just in that good mould of a strong staying chaser. I do like him, Monty Star. I do think Stay Away Fair enhanced his credentials for the race by running the Cotswolds Chase. When he was headed, and if you watch the real whacker come by him, he stayed on again at the line. I thought it was a solid performance against the big boys, let's say. But Fact to Fail is definitely a horse I love. I put him up on a show way back. I think the first show I've ever done this season round, and Fact to Fail was one of my horses to watch. Look, your time was kind of ticking on. He was getting on a bit, so they went chasing straight away. And I just think, look, the same as DJ, I think he's going to be a real classy horse. It's how the pack's going to juggle come the Dublin Racing Festival. I'm happy each way with Monty Star. I think got a solid chance.
Yeah, I'm going to weigh in here. You've teamed me up nicely with the Monty Star. I'm sort of happy with how his season's gone, really. It was a nice third at Fairyhouse over probably an inadequate trip, and it was first time out over fences. Thought he did really well, and just, he was a bit one pace at times, but I suppose at the trip, you sort of expect him to be like that. And Corbett's Cross, when Corbett's Cross is on a going day, he's very, very good. And he was good that day. 3-card Bragg as well, just got the better of him. But again, he was sort of went from the front. It was hard to catch him, really. And Nick Rocket's come out and Nick Rocket, has come out and Frank the Form finishing 4th. Then got on beating 3-card Bragg. The pair pulled an absolute country mile away from the third. It was probably a nothing racing behind those two when they went to Punchestown on New Year's Eve. But I thought he jumped really, really well that day. And yeah, I suppose Monty Star's probably up towards the top of my list as well. I think good price, 12-1 still. I think that's a fair each way price. And yeah, hopefully the dream's still alive with him with the big prices early season anyway. Harry, Brown Advisory, how do you see this picture playing out?
Yeah, it's wide open, isn't it? The one horse I would write off would be Grey Dawning. I just think I just think that, listen, the Hampton form is, if I'm right in saying, there's never been a winner from that race. that has gone to the Brown Advisory. It's just a horrendous race for it. I'd have stay away. I'd sell out on that match bet if I had the chance. It'd be stay away fade to absolutely smash Grey Dawn, and he's already beaten once, and I can't see any reason why Grey Dawning would overturn the form. He jumped much better at Warwick. But stay away Faye, I thought, against the older boys, especially like the likes of Capodanno, who was last seen finishing behind Galopin des Champs, and the Real Wacker, who obviously brought the Cheltenham Festival form to the table. They both, those two both ran to form, and stay away Faye, it was a big performance when he was wrong at the weights. If it was a handicap, he'd have been receiving lumps of weight from him. I think it's a little bit harsh, DJ. You can tell Johnny, because he does get on with me, that it was a little bit harsh on him to slag off stay away Faye in the way that he does. But I just think that Johnny hates Paul Nicholls, and it's one of those that he just doesn't want. Stay away Faye.
It's funny, when we were over there doing the show, you'd swear they knew each other all their lives. They got on like a house on fire.
I bet they did. But no, it's stay away Faye. He has to enter this picture because he's got the form now around the track. He's already a winner at the festival. He jumped a little bit sticky for me at the weekend. I didn't think he jumped that well. I thought he was a little bit lackadaisical. He made a bad mistake. I think it was at the top of the hill, and that kind of knocked the stuffing out of him, and Harry managed to kind of fill him back up, and then he stayed on again. He's got all of the credentials for a Brown Advisory, but Monty Starr, if you're going off the jumping game, he is by far the best jumper I've seen in this division, especially out of this field anyway. So Monty Starr, I don't mind the fact that he got beat on his debut over fences, because I felt like he learned so much more when he went to Punchestown the next time out. What was it? Just before the end of the month. It's on New Year's Eve, wasn't it? At Punchestown, and he was mightily impressive. So like Lee said, in those Maloney colours, I think Monty Starr is a lively player.
How come you're so against Grey Dawning?
Because he beat Apple away, DJ. It's just
it's a personal vendetta.
This is a vendetta. He's obviously.
I know you were questioning the form of that race at Warwick, but I think Black Hercules won that and went to Cheltenham and won.
He might well. I just thought. I'm pretty sure Black. He might have won. I thought it was a JLT.
Yes. Yeah.
He might well have done. He might well have done.
Did, yeah.
DJ,
he won that race at Warwick. Danny Mullins rode him, and then he went he won at Cheltenham. He won the Turners at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think you're. I think you're actually right. Yeah.
Do you know what was second?
I have no idea.
Bristol de Maille, I think, was second.
Wow. No. I was going back for. I was just looking off the last few ones. You had like Next Destination. Didn't he go to the National Hunt Chase? 300 through 5. Gale de la Toe won it last year. I was kind of going off those. I just don't think it's a good race for him. And I thought the race at Warwick this year fell apart. Appleway and Broadway Boy, they went hammer and tongs.
To just be denied by Ginny's Destiny, who's franked the form well the weekend. I think that was a fair enough race. If you look, I don't think Skelton's got the sexiest profile. So, if he was with Paul Nicholls, if he was with, I know the old adage of if he's with Willie Mullins, to do that devastating performance, I think is being harsh.
You've been bold on middle stump there, Harry, with the old.
Yeah. Well, listen. I've already said.
Sorry, I come back to I didn't mean to catch you out there.
No, it's okay. I will come back. I'll try and find it and back you up in this one, DJ. So while Ashley's talking, I'll find out.
While you're finding that, I'm going to put up one at 20-1 as well, just to go alongside it. I don't know where he's going, and this would be, this is probably the definition of anti-post betting, and the fact that if you have an opinion on him, you can make a decision on where he's going to go. Maybe he might drop to the Turners, might be his best race, but whichever one Hermes Allen goes to, I'd be interested in. He's got the form of the wonder horse of Ile Francais. I thought he ran a good race that day, and if you look at the sort of statistics on sort of how they jumped compared to each other, Ile Francais gained so many lengths at his fences, but Hermes Allen did a good job as well. He put in a really good performance in that Corto Star. Obviously was beaten fair and square by Ile Francais, but he still kicked the others sort of fairly out the way, and I thought it was a good run to try and put it up to Ile Francais, going, Harry Cobson pretty much missed it afterwards. He was going flat out for almost all the trip, and yet he still sort of saw it out eventually. I thought he was an interesting horse. old course, 3 miles, might just have that bit of turn of foot, a bit like the Real Wacker did last year, sort of that turn of foot against slow horses just to win the race if needed. I thought Hermes Allen, if he went to this race, I'd be interested by him. Go on, Lee.
I think Paul Nicholls will want Harry Cobden to ride them both. He'll go into turners, and I think he'll just know what he's got to stay away from. I think he'll split them up. I don't think he quite stays as good as these ones, in my opinion.
That's fair. And look, when we talk about the turners in a couple of episodes' time, I'll probably mention Hermes Allen there again. But look, I just wanted to mention him while we're on the topic now. Harry, you threw your arm up.
We've got some news, DJ. So of the last 12 winners,
he's reviewed.
Yeah, the DRS, the VAR has been ran. So Black Hercules went to Navan and fell on his next time out, and then went to the JLT, which is now known as the Turners, and won that, beating Bristol de Mai. But my actual stats regarding the Brown Advisory remains intact. 3 out of the 12 winners of the Hampton have ran in the Brown Advisory, and none have won and none have placed.
Well, there you go.
Excellent. Good stat.
I've got myself out some shit there.
I do remember years ago, like good horses have won that. Like it's probably not as good a race as it was. I remember Gungadoo winning it for Ruby. I remember Lamy won it one day for I think Mick Fitzgerald rode him one day for Francois Duman. It's but you could be right. Recent years it mightn't be.
Yeah, I'm going off the last 12. So
I'm showing my age now.
I got myself out some shit anyway, so that we got out of it anyway. So
it's worrying when Harry gets the stats out, so we'll move on very swiftly. We'll move on very swiftly to the Champion Chase, the 3:30 on the card of the Wednesday of the Cheltenham Festival, and obviously took a big turn in the market with John Bond's defeat on the weekend, made El Fabiolo 4-7, topping the market. John Bond as big as 4-1. Dino Blue, obviously the mare's chase option for her, but she is 10-1. Edward Stone 20-1, Boot Hill 25-1. Reading those two names, DJ, it's like reading a list of previous Upping the Ante tips from you. Captain Guinness 25, Bernie Hollow 25s as well. DJ, I'll come to you. Apologies, that's a bit of a low blow there, but the Queen Mother, it looks like Elfab, it looks like it's his race really after John Bon, or do you think John Bon is being maybe overlooked slightly?
Yeah, I do. Myself and Johnny spoke about this today and Upping the Ante. We're not saying that John Bon will beat El Fabiolo, but there's far too much between them in the betting at the moment. Like as we all know, he's going to be ridden differently in the Champion Chase to how he was ridden in the Clarence House. It was a week later. It just, like I asked Willie Mullins this about El Fabiolo going to the Dublin Racing Festival, and a fortnight between being cherry right tuned up for a Clarence House at Ascot to waiting 2 weeks for Leopardstown, how much of an impact that's going to have. And he said, yeah, it's not ideal, but sure, hopefully he'll be okay. And look, I have no idea. Like I don't know the ins and outs of training and how you kind of get them right. But I always remember Barry Geraghty told me, I said, what separates the top trainers, you know, the Nicky Hendersons, the Willie Mullinses, the Gordon Elliots, the Henry Ramans, whoever, like the top lads, the Paul Nichols, like from the rest. And he said, and he just in a line, he said, I better get this phrase right now. He said that the top trainers don't do the final piece of work to find out how well the horse is. They trust their judgment that that's going to happen on the track, whereas the smaller trainers will kind of go, oh God, I want to see how well this horse is, so I'm going to give him that extra piece of work just to find out how kind of cherry ripe he is. And then come the race, they're kind of over the top. So they're dying to find out how well their horse is, that they give him an extra piece of work. Whereas the top trainers trust their own judgment and say, okay, no, we're not going to give him that extra piece of work. And we're going to, hopefully he'll save that for the track kind of thing. I just thought it was an interesting kind of analogy. I think there's too much between them. I think El Fabiolo will probably win. I think if both horses show up in the Queen Mother, they both jump beautifully, El Fabiolo will win because he's got more ability than John Bon. But if John Bon meets every fence spot on in the Champion Chase, if he does everything right, it's going to be a fantastic race. I thought 9-2 straight after the race. Each way, John Bon was a cork in each way. But you basically got a shot to nothing there, because if he didn't fall on Saturday, he's never going to fall, because that was as bad a mistake as you're ever going to make, and he still found a leg somehow. So I seen a video that Seven Barrows put up of him the next day saying he trotted out fine. So they're happy enough that he's not injured. And that was my big worry. I said, that horse has to be injured after that mistake. It looks between the two. It's very hard to see anything else getting into it. I don't think they're going to run Dino Blue here. Maybe they will. I don't think so. I think they'll go for the Mare's Chase. And then when you start going through the rest, like I know Tom Siegel in his column put up Captain Guinness each way at 33s. I could see that. Forget the run of Christmas on bottomless ground and horrible conditions. And then like when you go through the rest of them, you're kind of going, holy God. Like how many runners there going to be? Is there going to be 5, 6 runners max maybe? Elixir the Nuts obviously would have an each way chance. Look, Edward Stone is a little bit of an enigma to me now. He's a horse I've always liked. And I always thought, and I said this before he ran at Kempton, I thought he was always a 2.5 miler who was just so keen over 2 that they had to run him over 2. And then look, he ran in Kempton and didn't stay and did a lot wrong. Like if he was to run here, I still think he's the 3rd best horse in the race. And he probably would be maybe an each way bet, but like you can't have any faith in Edward Stone anymore after kind of, 2 of his last 4 runs have been absolutely brutal. So it's very hard to have faith in him, even though he's an Arkham winner. I think Job on at 9-2 was probably a little bit of value, but I think El Fabiolo will win.
Yes, it looks between the top 2 for sure, but there is a big gulf in the prices, Harry. Is that how you see it, especially after looking at Trials Day and what John Bond did?
No, I think I completely agree with DJ there, but I do think we learned more about John Bon after the mistake he made on Saturday and the way he went back into the race. I was so shocked of how sweetly he came back on the bridle and took it up jumping the penultimate fence, and then just lost. He lost so much momentum going into the last fence. I think that's what people are forgetting. And for a horse who was basically on his nose, jump at the top of the hill, to then lose even more momentum at the final fence when I'm not saying by any means James Bone could have met it on a better stride because he had to pop it. But for a horse that was kind of he was all revved up and then you take it back off, it's just physically not possible to get up that hill. And it was almost reminiscent of Lossiemouth when in the DRF last year, when she showed that blistering turn of foot down the outside to chase home. It was Gola Marceau, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. That beat her that day, and obviously everyone on Twitter was saying, "Oh, Lossiemouth's going to win the Triumph." Well, she did, and now look what Lossiemouth is doing. I'm not saying that El Fabiolo won't beat John Bon, because if it turns into an engine test, we know El Fabiolo will beat him. But if John Bon jumped the last in front, I think you could just see a different result this year. Now, I'm not saying get stuck into the 4-1 that's available with some bookies, but I think it's a criminal underestimation of John Bon. So, yeah, he's still the one for me.
Lovely stuff. Lee, final word over to you. How do you see the Queen Mother after Trials Day? And obviously El Fabiolo, he can only, well, I suppose he can block the copybook on the weekend, but it looks like he's not going to with the sort of market priced up, and he can go and put in a nice performance and, sort of justify the big talk about him. Are you still in his camp, sort of 4-7 about him? That's a short enough price for a big race like the Queen Mother.
It's a short enough price, but I'll keep it simple. He'll win. I think he's a better horse than John Bon. John Bon's turned in a kind of a different beast, I would have said, this season. Won the Schlur Chase, won 2 races, impressive before that. Bad error, and still able to get back into it. He's a classy horse, but I think to turn that Arkle form round, look, they won a piece there that obviously over hurdles at Aintree, but he was just denied El Fabiolo. John Bon had the extra experience. It was shown in the Arkle. Look, I think it's a clear cut. El Fabiolo will win, and I have no doubt. And look, Willie Mullins, he's dominating all this season. They're on red hot form, and El Fabiolo to beat John Bon, because I don't think there's anything else in the race. Simple as for me.
Brilliant stuff. Final race we'll be talking about on episode 3 of the Cheltenham Festival Ante-post series is the cross-country chase. Now, having just spoke about a race with a short price favourite, we're looking at one that's quite wide open but full of favourites of years gone by, conflated, topping the market 7-2. Obviously, haven't seen him over Banks yet, or seen him since his Savills unseating, but he's a very good horse in his own right. Milena Indo, former Gold Cup winner, 9-2. Delta Work, 5-1. Galvin, 6-1, second in the race last year. Late Night Pass, 10s, Foxy Jacks, 14s, and bigger about the rest. DJ, first word to you on this final race. Now, we do watch Up in the Ante. We know which horse you potentially like for the race at a bit of a price, but overview-wise, cross-country, it's a bit of an interesting one this year with Conflated and Milano coming into the picture. Do you see these two being big threats to the established horses of Galvin and Delta Work?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I'd say was it's interesting. The quality of this race has really improved in recent years, but I'm not sure it's why the cross country was really invented. Like, I don't know if it was invented for a former Gold Cup winner, a 6-time Grade 1 winner, an Irish Gold Cup winner in Conflated, and and horses like at the latter stages of their careers to switch codes. I think it was more for the maybe not a powerhouse stable to have their chance at Cheltenham. And I do think it would be better as a handicap. But the flip side of that is you're getting a real kind of high quality race now with Conflated, Manilindo, Delta Work and Galvin. Look, I put up Foxy Jacks very early on Up in the Ante at 16-1. I think he's a different horse this season to what we've seen for the last couple of seasons. And like, potentially he could be outclassed on the day if they all show up, but like, you've got to remember, like, he's still rated. I think he when he ran in the when he was third in the Kerry National, Foxy Jacks, like he was rated 147 that day, so he's rated up in the 150s. Like, he's that level, a kind of a 150 level, and I think he's probably getting better. Whereas, even though he's a 10-year-old, whereas all the rest of them are probably on the way down. The one thing that baffles me completely, like, Foxy Jacks can be back to 14-1. Late Night Pass is 10-1. When Foxy Jacks beat Late Night Pass at Cheltenham in November, he was giving Late Night Pass £7. Yes, they're going to be running off levels here, and Late Night Pass is a much shorter price than Foxy Jacks, so that completely baffles me. I have a fear that Foxy Jacks will potentially be outclassed on the day by one of the top four. I don't fancy Galvin. I think Galvin has turned into a kind of a horse, an early type of horse, even though he was, he had that one really good season when he was well fancied for the Gold Cup and he won the Savills Chase and beat Applutar. But I don't know, he's had 1, 2, 3 goes now. He got a bad injury in the Grand National. They had to coax him back. He ran okay last time against Late Night Pass, but he'd be one of the top 3 that I think he'll finish in the first 4, but I don't think he'll win. Conflated, look, he's going to run Saturday, and then it looks like he's going to run in the cross country. Gordon is adamant that he's an absolute weapon across these banks. Who knows?
Do you think he'll stay? Do you think he'll stay?
That's
my. I love the horse. I love the horse, but that's my question mark on him. Would he stay? 3 miles 6. Obviously, he's never been tried at the trip, but he did have that season going for the Ryanair. He was 2.5 miles, then stepping up to sort of 3 miles kind of thing.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say, he was third in the Gold Cup last year over 3 mile 2.5, going as Johnny would say, a zillion quicker than they'd go in the cross country. So I'd imagine 3 mile 2.5 in the Gold Cup was potentially a sterner test of stamina, because they usually kind of crawl on the first kind of circuit or two here. Look, he's dangerous. Manilindo, really dangerous, like really, really dangerous. Like, that run was eye-catching. He did a lot right. He made one notable error at December meeting here. But look, he's been training for the race. He still has got a little bit of what he used to have. He comes alive in the spring. Look, he's a great Cheltenham record. He has to have a chance. Delta Work was very lame after November. I think he's like, hopefully he'll get there. But it would worry me that, they were pretty worried about him after the race, making sure he was okay. So hopefully he's all right and he does make the race. So I still think Foxy Jacks is the overpriced one, because you know what you're going to get. And interesting talking to Gavin Bruder, like, the figure, it has taken them so long to figure this horse out. And I spoke to him a couple of times about this horse. He said you used to try and tell the horse how to approach a fence, and he used to hate it, and that's why he kept falling. But now, he said he's realised that he either goes one way or the other of the fence. So when he's coming into a fence, he'll either go right or left, and you just have to let him go right or left. You can't try and straighten him up, because he'll make a mistake or he could potentially fall. So if you watch his win in November, he actually does let him go either way at a fence. So they're starting to figure him out. Mouse says he's in cracking form. He goes for the race. I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the first 4 if he didn't fall. I think he's a cracking each way bet. I am just worried that one of those kind of Manila Indo or Conflated, if one of those showed up, I'd be really worried.
Cracking each way bet. That's what we like on the show. Thank you very much, DJ. I'll go Lee. Actually, cross country. Delta Work's been a horse you've liked in the past, but like DJ said there, he came back very lame after it. Would you be with him this year again, or are you happy to sort of pass on the torch and go for something else?
Well, he broke my heart a couple of years ago because I was on Tiger Roll. I think he broke off the nation talk there, but I was with him last season. I'm not with him this season. I think he's kind of on his way out. He's not going to be progressing. I know that the older brigade, but I have no problem with Conflated staying for the same reason TJ had mentioned. I think, look, you can hunt around in these type of races. They're not going to be going, Gold Cup paces. I think we're still there within half a streak of the places when falling up. Was it an unseat? I think the last day there. Look, he was never going to get to Galloping Deschamps, but he could have filled a frame, I think, look, I'll take Gordon's word for it as well, that he's been working well over these. We haven't seen him, but I think he is just such the classy one, the same as Manila Indo. I thought travelled great into the race the last day, and I think it'll be between them two just because they're so much classier. Galvin has been, like DJ says, disappointing. I think he needs a certain type of ground, like good ground, and I'd kind of scrap him off the list. Third in, I would have had Foxy Jacks. I thought won well last time out over the course as well. And yeah, look, I think I'm on Conflated, so it's kind of pocket talk because I've got a bit better price, but I think he's the classiest in there. I love the way Manila Indo went about it when it was a handicap, so I think he's got a good chance. And I'd take, the each way live place is definitely Foxy Jacks.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Harry, how do you assess the cross country very quickly?
I think just the fact that Gordon Elliott has such a terrific record in this race, I think you have to kind of point towards his guns. That's just the way that I've always gone about it. And Conflated, for me, the interview that he gave Racing TV towards the back end of last year was just, I mean, when Gordon says stuff like that, you have to kind of sit up and take note of it. And when he's saying this horse is electric over the banks, I mean, is 7-2 going to seem massive on the day? He could absolutely blitz these horses. He's a class animal. He's been competing at the highest level this year. And look, despite him maybe not firing last time out, if he bounces back to form and takes to fences, and especially the cross country fences like some of his other stablemates have done, Delta Work, for example, Tiger Roll being another perfect example, then I think Conflated at 7-2 is going to be a monstrous price on the day. And look, I think he's ground a penny, can go on anything. Galvin is one that needs good ground. That is just my personal view, and I think Delta Work, the softer the better for him.
Yeah, it's a very good race. I'd be siding with Indo. I think very good run in the handicap last time out, as Lee said. We'll go off levels this time out. It was a nice sort of sight around, make sure he got round. I spoke to Rachel Blackmore afterwards, sort of the press huddle afterwards, and she was sort of beaming from ear to ear with the run. She was very happy with it. Jumped brilliantly, travelled into the race well, and just the weight of the handicap has just got a beat on that day. And I think Indo's a good horse, and he's shown himself already. So I'd be with him 9-2. Not too bad at all. We'll move on then to our end of show Ante-post selections. Third week now, obviously we've had audience ones, we've had the guest team piling up, 2 live runners in Chianti Classico, who's going to go to the Ultima for Johnny, and Gidley Park, who won at the weekend for Cheltenham for Tanya. So we'll go over to DJ for yours. Any race at Cheltenham, what do you fancy?
I'm going to play it reasonably safe here to try and get a winner. Look, I think Di Sardinas for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle is, I think she's electric. It's turning into a better race than I was kind of thinking. Like, put it this way, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought it was a dead match between Di Sardinas and Brighter Days Ahead. Now it's turned into a kind of a threesome with Jane de Grugy. But it's 2 mile 1 on the new course at Cheltenham, and she's beaten the boys over 2 mile 1 on the new course at Cheltenham at the December meeting. She's going to be getting £5 from Jade DeGrugy and Brighter Days Ahead, and getting £5 is massive. She has course experience. Look, the flip side of that is that Fergal O'Brien hasn't had a Cheltenham Festival winner, but I think he realised pretty early in the season, and probably after she won the Aintree bumper last season, that this was going to be his best chance of getting the Cheltenham Festival winner. And this mare has been campaigned beautifully. To go to Huntington to a nothing race just to get her out to win at 1-7. Her jumping was, I was a bit disappointed by her jumping that day. To jump so much better at Cheltenham and just a normal novice hurdle where it wasn't a graded race, to pick out that race against the boys, I thought that was very shrewd. And then to go to Doncaster to win another egg and spoon race, to just get that little bit more confidence into her. Look, she was a little bit high at one of the hurdles and guessy at one, but I think the quicker she goes, the better she's going to jump. And look, again, against Brighter Days Ahead and Jade DeGrugy, if it was a 1 mile 4 flat race, I'd have no doubt whatsoever that Dice Ardinos is quicker than both of them. I think she is an exceptional mare. Look, I think she's officially rated 131 because she hasn't really got the chance to really kind of be any better than that, and you can only beat what's put in front of you. But I love her. I like the day she beat Queen's Gamble at Market Raisin was the day I fell in love with her. I just thought that day, I said, what have we seen here? Because Queen's Gamble that day did everything right. She kicked kind of too clear, and then Dice Ardinos just picked her up and like won by a length, cozily. Could have won by 3 or 4 if it was another kind of 200 yards. I thought that was a really good bumper that day, and I'm willing to take the chance that she's top class. She's 4-1, I think, for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. I love her, and I just think maybe it's just written in the stars that she's going to give Fergal O'Brien his first Cheltenham Festival winner. I definitely think she's up there with some of the winners who have won the race already. Dice Ardinos for me. Thursday, Mayor's Novice Hurdle. Fingers crossed.
Top stuff is in the book. Dice Ardinos, cracking horse, and fingers crossed for Fergal to get his first winner on the board. Lee, go over to you.
Yeah, just to say, look, it's kind of only a matter of time before Fergal has a winner, and like DJ says, it's definitely one of the chance. Mine, I'm taking a chance on a mare as well, but at a bigger price. I think Echoes and Rain, but for the county. I know people think I'm mad. Look, I agree. The doctors tell us I'm mad. It's fine. But Echoes and Rain for the county. I think, look, Willie Mullins has won the race 6 times. He won it with Arctic Fire, who was off 12 stone, off a big weight there. He's fine targeting the race. I think he'll have the Mare's Hurdle sewn up with the legs of Lossy Mouth, but he's also got Ashore Diamond and Galamarso in there. He's got State Man and Perry Pass and them type of horses for a champion hurdle. I just think he'll take the chance and run Echoes and Rain in a county. I think she wants a quick run 2 mile. I don't think she stays. She's tried a couple of times in a Mare's Hurdle over 2.5. I just don't think she stays. I think she wants a quickly run 2 mile race. I know she did one over 2 mile 3, I think it was, at Punchestown. But look, I just think the race will suit her. I think I don't want to crab her into like kind of a certain type of horse, but maybe it's like a Pied Piper from last season. I think she'll travel into the race well, be smuggled into it. And I think, Echoes and Rain is a massive price for the county hurdle. That is non-runner, no bet, actually. I did take 20s at non-runner, no bet. So, you're taking the chance that she'll go there. But I think kind of everything's aligning for her to run a huge race. And it's a Willie Mullins horse. She'll be a lot shorter if she goes there. I'm
still waiting for Patrick to put her into the race properly from the Mare's Hurdle last year. I'm still waiting and waiting. I can't.
Look, that's just, I can guarantee she will not win a Mare's, and especially now they've got Lossy Mouth going there. Like, you can't win a champion hurdle, you can't win a Mare's. Stick her in a county. Should have a fair share of the weight because she's a classy horse. But to be fair, look, a county is a hustle and bustle race. But I think she's finished second in the Cesarewitch, 30 runners or something. She's won a 16 runner. Like she's She's had that hustle and bustle. She doesn't mind that as well. Yeah, Eccles and Rain, County Hurdle, 20-1. Get stuck in.
Shrewd, fancy. Harry, if there's one word I could describe you as, shrewd would be low down the list. But what's episode 3 fancy for you?
Look, how do you come back from that? Like, Lee has literally just forced me to load up my betting accounts and just find 20-1 as many times as I can because he's just sold it to me. No, I'm sticking with Paul Town and Willie Mullins. No, I went with Ballyburn last week in the hope that he puts in a big performance in the Novice Hurdle this week. And I am also going to take another chance on a horse that we will see at the DRF, and it's Storm Heart. Currently 6-1 for the Triumph. Now, it's going to be a tough ask because we probably saw the Triumph winner, or at least the runner-up in the Triumph this year, because Sagino was so good, but Storm Heart was electric at Punchestown last time, I thought. And do you know what? I don't think the race went to plan. He's beautifully played, and the leader of the race last time, I think it was a horse called Katona, was putting the brakes on at every single hurdle and was kind of just inconveniences Storm Heart, and then Paul Tanner managed to get him round and manoeuvre him all the way around, and it was he stormed home by 22 lengths. He couldn't have been more impressive if he tried, and if he got a clearer passage through, it could have been 222 if he really wanted it to. So I'm hoping that he goes to the juvenile hurdle at the DRF, puts in another big performance, and just closes the gap between himself and Sagino. But looking at Sagino in the paddock over at Trials Day, he is some specimen, and you won't want to be taking him on for some novice chases down the road. But I'm just hoping that Storm Heart might be a lively threat. So Storm Heart 6-1. He is my episode 3 selection.
Brilliant stuff. And completing it for me, I'm going to take a chance. Ante-post betting is all about taking a chance. I could have had Bride's Hill last week, but I chickened out of it and decided to let her run. I let the 25-1. It was sat right here in my hands. I let it go away, and now she's 12-1. She's not going to be any shorter than that. She may be 10-1 on the day, but she won't be much shorter. So I'd be happily let her back her on the day, kind of thing, and maybe get some extra concessions on my side. So she might enter the team if I'm lacking for one later down the line, but I'm happy to leave her where she is. Taking a chance. I'm taking a chance that Gordon Elliott picks him back up at the sales. I like Caldwell Potter as a horse, and I'm going for the Barring Bingham, Ballymore, whatever it's called. I like this horse. It's just the middle distance novice hurdle. I like him. I really do, and I think if he is to stay with Gordon, I think it's more likely that he'll be going to this race than the Supreme. Gordon's got plenty of horses going for the Supreme, Fire and Glory, Firefox being one of them. Just watching Road to Cheltenham, the most recent one, Harry was very kind to highlight to me. I remember it now. Jack Kennedy saying sort of, the 3 horses you ride in the novice hurdles, and Firefox Supreme, and Caldwell Potter was for the Barring Bingham kind of thing. So I think he's going to be going to this race, hopefully anyway. I'd say it'd be his race. And looking at the field for the race as well, like I wouldn't be scared of much in this. If we're sort of on the assumption that Ballyburn's going to Supreme, which I kind of agree with Harry on this, I do think he's going to go for the Supreme, then there's not really much in there that's really sort of getting me scared. Reading Tommy wrong, I'd like to see him do it again. He's very impressive, but I'd take him on. Gidley Park was good on the weekend. Sectionals worked out quite nicely, so he'd probably be the top of the list. In Atlantique, I don't know if he sees that as races. Mystical Power, Supreme. Fire and Glory, Supreme. Slade Steel, I suppose, maybe. And then you're looking for others. They do have to step up. Caldwell Potter's a Grade 1 winner. He's shown himself. He's got the Mighty Potter link as well. That broodmare that's producing all of these sort of Potter links and all the siblings. She's a fantastic broodmare. And yeah, I'm going to be with Caldwell Potter here. 12-1's a fair enough price about him. And fingers crossed he can at least run in the race and then give me a run for my money. The audience Cheltenham pick. Last week it was San Segal for the Grand Annual, and this week it is Foxy Jacks for the cross country. So Matty Holford at Matt Holford 4. He's gone Foxy Jacks in the cross country for me. Reckon odds will shorten big time before race time. So we have DJ on this week. We've got people who are putting up Foxy Jacks, and now the audience are on board. So good horse all the same. And that's all we got time for this week. DJ, thank you very much for coming on. I know it's sort of maybe a futile question, but where's best to find you on the run up to Cheltenham? Is it Upping The Ante? Is it in the Racing Post columns? Do go promote yourself.
Sure. Cheltenham is mad. Like I love it personally. Like it is quite hectic because like you go from Dublin Racing Festival, and then it's funny in Ireland. I don't think it's the same in England, but in Ireland, like Cheltenham preview nights have never been more popular, and like it's just people just are eating up Cheltenham at the moment, and yeah, it's the next 6 weeks they're going to be busy. Obviously, Upping The Ante every Tuesday. Do a bit of writing in the paper, obviously as well. Have a column on a Saturday. Look, I have a great job. Doing something you love, and chatting to you guys and to you as well. Keep up the great work. Serious. Like I love stuff like this where you're voicing an opinion and you're having a general chat about race, and I think people just love listening to this kind of stuff. So keep it up, and I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty as over the weekend down at Cheltenham as well. So thanks for having me on.
Have you got many previews booked in? Are you on many previews this year?
I have a few, yeah.
I was going to say, I bet you and Johnny must be like, there's no, for Christmas presents, you two get, like, you get Cheltenham preview nights, and how many you get. I reckon, DJ, if I'm going to give a guess, I'll go 12.
Oh, Jesus, no, I don't have 12. God, I'd be divorced if I had 12.
Really?
Yeah, no, no, I don't have 12. God, but like I obviously have ones that I do for work, and it's actually changed a lot, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. When I started doing Cheltenham preview nights, like maybe 10 years ago, I think I'm like 12 years with the Racing Post, or 13 years, but maybe 10 years ago I started doing preview nights, and I was always on as a tipster and a pundit, and then in the last kind of 2 or 3 years, anybody that calls is like, will you MC and present it? So I don't know if it's kind of a backhanded compliment, or basically they're saying your tipping is terrible, so we get you to actually host it, or maybe they're thinking my presenting is better than my tipping, which I don't mind, and they'd probably be right.
Just smile and wave on the presenting front, and just let the people next to you have a good go of things. You don't have to get yourself into any bother there.
Learn a thing or two off you, Ash. Anyway, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's very kind, very kind. No, thank you very much for coming on. Very, very good to see you, and we'll see you obviously DRF and Cheltenham galore. That is obviously the end of the episode. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter profiles for the three of us anyway are on screen here.
Mine's not. I've disappointed again. Mine's not on there, is it? Me and DJ, we've let the team down.
Just disappointed again. That's a comment, Harry. You hear too much. And we'll be back Saturday 10:30 a.m. to go Saturday live for the DRF, and Sunday as well. Sunday show 7 till 8 to review the Dublin Racing Festival as well. If you're having a bet this week, please do gamble responsibly. Best of luck at the Dublin Racing Festival. Wish you all the best of luck, and we wish you luck on your Cheltenham Ante-post betting if you're having any. But until then, we'll see you very, very soon.